some really important and exciting spiritual work. And because of that, I was a little bit delayed, but I'm glad you're still going to come and hang out with me here this morning. And we're going to talk just a little bit about the direction we all want to go, but we're afraid to go in. So, what I want to talk about is how science is starting to support spirituality and how science is starting to support spiritual practices. And, I was raised in a Catholic family, and, at the time in the 70s, Catholicism was beautiful and also had so many challenges, especially for young women. I don't think anybody can really deny that the Catholic Church for young women wasn't really the most supportive of places. So I resisted spirituality for a really long time. And I wanted to know the science of it, and I looked at it, and I went and I studied with shamans, and I studied with healers, and I studied with metaphysicians, and and I went around the world and studied with people in the mountains, in the desert, because I wanted to understand how spirituality really worked, how I could know the path I should go in life. So the neat thing about this day and age is science is starting to catch up to spirituality. It's starting to understand why the different spiritual practices work. It's starting to understand why drumming regulates the nervous system. It's starting to understand why stroking someone on the arm helps them get through a time of grief or a time of pain. So science is starting to catch up to what spirituality looks like. And it's really very exciting because it gives a very clear path for why we should make the decisions that we make in any area of our life. So for the most part, when we are angry, hurt, sad, frustrated, or overwhelmed, our brains are out of balance. And then when we feel connected and centered and clear-headed and like we know what's going on and like we've got a handle on things, it means that we're actually in harmony with ourselves. So when we feel like we are worthless or that there's no place to go and that we're trapped, that's actually our brain being out of balance, our brain and our body being out of balance. And when we feel as if we've got the answers and we can see 100 miles in front of us and that the world makes sense and we know exactly what to do when we're supposed to do it, that's when our body and our brain and our nervous system are working in harmony. So there's a way to do this. There's a way to take us out of the mental health of, pain and sorrow and frustration by learning how to regulate our body, get it working in harmony with itself, get it working in a way that lets us think and see and imagine and create a different future and have the confidence to create that different future. So the science is starting to explain why your breathwork techniques work for you, or why tapping works, or why going for a walk in the woods works. The problem that we've had all of our lives as a civilization is that we wait when we're in that place of sadness, when we think that that we're too stupid to know the right thing to do, when we look at ourselves and all we see is someone who has flaws, or someone who has mistakes. If that's all we see, then that's what our world looks like. That's what our reality looks like. So, how do we switch from being in a stressed out, overwhelmed space to being in a calm, centered, loving space that lets you make good decisions, that lets you stand up to bullies, that lets you explain what you're thinking and feeling, that lets you feel as if you're thriving in your life instead of like life is always getting in your way and not letting you move forward. It's deciding to love yourself first, deciding to love yourself in a way that helps you feel calm and centered and good. So maybe you've tried, these different healing tools in the past. Maybe you're a Reiki master, maybe you're a light worker, maybe you've done, EMDR, maybe you've done years of therapy. Maybe that's the life you've sort of lived and you've wondered why none of it works. None of it works usually is because of the timing. You're not using the tools when you need to use those tools. And you're not using those tools in the way that you're supposed to use those tools. You're supposed to take your breath work and layer it with your tapping and layer it with the walk in the woods and layer it with some meditation music all at the same time. You're supposed to be doing that all at the same time and also as soon as you feel stressed. One of the side effects of going into that fearful, anxious state is we feel frozen. We don't know what to do, like rabbits in the headlights. And we're waiting to get more information before we can do something different. So in the meantime, we're going to freeze and we're going to wait and see if anybody sees us. That's what some women go through. And when we're in that space, that means that we are out of balance and we can't think clearly. We can't think in a way that will get us out of trouble. We can't think in a way that will protect us and is for the highest good because we're off balance. So when you choose to love yourself, and as soon as you have that negative thought, as soon as you have that painful memory or that trigger or that flare up of anger, as soon as you have that, you're supposed to wait and do something that loves you first. Because what you're really looking for is for love, that feeling of love, that experience of nurturing, that nourishment from the time that you were hurt. And you are able to give that to yourself now. You're able to learn how to take your walk when you're feeling out of sorts and layer it with your music and layer it with your essential oils and layer it with your EFT and layer it with your visualization. They all go on the walk with you. And when you do that, you start to sort through and process through all of those wounds that are keeping you held back, that keep you in that space of not being able to think your way out of a paper bag. You're able to not only find your way out of the paper bag, but take the paper bag, turn it into, an airplane and send messages across the world. You're able to perform miracles when you start to love yourself first. So, how should you live your life? You should live your life by very high principles. Principles of love, kindness, compassion, no matter what, no matter how difficult it is. But that doesn't mean that you're supposed to be a victim or to suffer. Remember, you want to make it sacred, which means that you have to protect yourself. You have to love yourself. And in the loving of yourself, the universe takes care of everything else. We live in a very big, complex, complicated, crazy universe, and we can only perceive or understand the smallest part of it. Anything in life, anything that happens is trillions upon trillions of things having to happen at the same time, which you have no control over. So the idea is to stay regulated, stay in that higher vibration of compassion and love and caring, so that you stay in balance and you can think clearly and you can creatively lead the way. And by doing that, the minions of the devil, if we want to say it that way, the anger and the hurt and the pain, those dysregulated brains, they will start to come into alignment with you, because the stronger state, the stronger brainwave, body wave state is the one that will win. So when you strengthen yourself and nourish yourself and keep yourself in a good place, you will always be the strongest one. And your love and your care and your self-respect and your trust that things are happening that you have no idea and that it's not yours to know, it's not your lesson to have. Your lesson is only to love yourself, which means get your body back into a good place as soon as you feel out of balance. And out of balance is anger, hurt, sadness, anxiety of your chest beating faster, your stomach knotting up, your shoulders tense, your eyes hurting, your hip hurting. That's telling you you're dysregulated. That's the signs. So as soon as you notice it, the only thing you should do is hold yourself in a place of compassion and love and light and care and nourishment and take care of yourself, because that puts you back into what we call our higher self. And our higher self is simply using all of our resources, our brain and our heart and our gut together as a team, and staying in that flow of what's really going on that we can't see because we are trapped in our own fears, in our reactions to things over and over. The way you stop the reaction is you love yourself, and the faster you love yourself, the faster you'll see your way out. That really is the answer. So if you wanted some guidance for today, I hope that helped. If you need some assistance walking that path, just like these videos, ask to follow them when they show up, when they live stream, and be a part of the conversation, and be a part of this loving community that we've been creating. And if you want more information on me, just go to inspiremassage.com. It's going to be changing soon to reflect this higher order of thinking, this higher way of being. So keep an eye out for that when that website's ready, and we'll be ready to transition into something more beautiful. Okay? Have a great rest of your day. Bye.